She-Hulk is failing. And to anyone who's watched the first couple of episodes, it's not really surprising. I feel we need to dig deeper into exactly why this is. And to be perfectly honest, there is only really one reason. And that reason is the writing. It is fucking appalling. How? We've already had the writers come out and say they don't know how to write a courtroom drama. Jessica Gao has stated she loved She-Hulk comics, especially the John Byrne run. But if you actually dig a little deeper into that, which the Star Wars girl did on her review, you would see that she actually catches her out with it, because she talks about how She-Hulk hates being who she is, but actually in the John Byrne comics you see that she's really thankful for it in the end. Great, so Jessica Gao and her writing team are writing a comedy about a comic book hero who happens to be a lawyer, and they know nothing about courtroom dramas or comic books.
Not a great plan.
There are many issues we could talk about, so I'm going to try and keep it brief. First, Jen, the lawyer. Jen the lawyer. Yes, this woman is a lawyer. In episode 2, she was fired because she saved the jurors, which caused a mistrial. Now, I'm no lawyer, much like the writers of this programme, but if I was, and my boss fired me in a bar because I saved some people, the first thing I would be saying is, I'll see you in court, you massive bellend. And I'd be suing the shit out of him as well, because being the good lawyer that I am, I would know that I've been wrongfully fired. My second issue with Jen the lawyer is when she gets offered a job and straight away says yes. She doesn't ask about pay, company benefits, and her one request, the only request she has, is that her mate comes and works there too.
You got me fired, now you want to hire me.
To be head of a new division, yes. Take some time.
I accept. I will only do it if I can hire my own paralegal. Non-negotiable.
Are you serious?
When she goes to meet Abomination, they ask her to sign a contract, which I guess is a waiver, just to say, in the event of your death, we can't be sued. However, being the good lawyer that she is, she asks no questions about it, doesn't even want to read the waiver in front of her, and signs right there on the dotted words, because she's just written over words. Weird. I imagine it's just because the screen was blank when she did it, and she just wrote where she thought was right, but in post-production, they kind of fucked up.
Oopsie poopsie.
Again, I'm no lawyer. I'm pretty sure lawyers are all about the detail. And, well, this fucking show has zero detail. So, for a lawyer-esque show, there is surprisingly very little law, or detail, or lawyering, or courtrooms, or anything of that nature.
Hey, fuck off.
Jen the person. Honestly, what a whiny little bitch. The whole point of a hero-centric show is that you're supposed to like the hero in question. However, Jen is so fucking whiny and arrogant that, well, nobody does. She whines about getting fired and being lonely. She whines about only getting the job because she is the She-Hulk. Imagine that. Getting upset because you're a diversity hire and not hired because you're the best person for the job.
They hired me? Okay, this sucks. I am totally qualified, but now everyone around here is always going to think this is the only reason I got the job. It's so unfair.
How cheap you must feel. I mean, not sure that was what the writers were going for. I mean, then she whines that a bunch of men in the meeting room didn't have that problem. Which, first off, hold the fuck on. You know nothing about those guys and what they went through to get to those positions, so pipe the fuck down. I mean, she says that while she's She-Hulk. She-Hulk is supposed to be fun and super confident, and that is something she would never say. She also has issue with being a derivative of the Hulk.
And I got news for you.
You fucking are, you absolute thunder cunt. Already mentioned this in my review, but she talks down to the Hulk as though she's better than him and knows better than him. You don't tell the man who has been dragged through the ringer for most of his adult life that you can do it better than him after being the She-Hulk for a fucking day. You don't get to do that.
Fuck off.
The writers. Let's be honest, the writers are fucking clueless. As stated, they've never read the comics. So how the fuck can you write a show on a hero without reading the source material about said hero? It's actual fucking lunacy. It's like writing a film about Hitler and casting Idris Elba for him and make him out to be a lovable rogue with a cheeky side who, you know, killed a few people, but hey, he loves the beer and getting smashed up on the weekends. The problem with this particular all-female writing crew, and when I say particular, I mean these 30-something LA types who know nothing of the real world, who struggle to get dick and drink way too much, is that they have no real life experience, which pulls through in the show because it's so fucking boring. But, you know, what also pulls through is the bad experiences that they must have had with men, because the fucking disdain for us is unlike anything I have seen. We have one guy who refers to women as it, We have some feminine creep who gives her a basket he made. The creeps who tried to chat her up in an episode where she turns into the Hulk, they both hugged each other in fear. I mean, fucking hell, it was like a Wayne's Brothers film. The speech about men lesser than her trying to tell her how to do her job, the talking down to Hulk, it's just so fucking toxic. It stinks, like, as Jeff would say,
one big pile of shit.
this show is basically the experiences of the writer. It has nothing to do with She-Hulk or Jen. The critical drinker said it comes across as a therapy session for the writers. You know what, he's right. I imagine that they watch this series back and laugh at the different characters because each one of them is someone they know. You know, the new arsehole boss. Well, that's just given. Oh my god, it's so mean. Jessica Gao is probably Jen, who doesn't get any dick and probably drinks far too much. And old creepy Steve from accounts is the fruit basket guy. So yeah, plenty of self-inserts. It's also obvious that the writers hate comic books and comic book fans. And this is just purely self-evident because the show sucks a big bag of dicks and has nothing from the source. The woke brigade never liked comics, and they certainly didn't like the kind of people who read them. The show doesn't know who it's trying to appeal to. The writers are writing it for themselves, and any other single 30-something borderline alcoholic work-stressed LA girl. Yet Disney want the kids to enjoy it. But the writers aren't good enough to blend the two, so you get this fucking weak story that has to blend some superhero theme into it. Oh, what a fucking pain.
Not a great plan.
The CGI. I said in my review originally that it wasn't bad, you know, it wasn't great. But, Jesus Christ, the more I'm actually looking at this stuff and going through it, it just gets fucking worse. And it's mainly She-Hulk. I mean, it's just her animation and rendering. She doesn't move fluidly like a human. It's just not very good and getting worse. Shit that never happens. People don't get fired for saving people, so fuck off with that. People don't go to job interviews and get told they won't be hired because of the person they are. Why would an interviewer who knows who you are invite you to come for an interview only to tell you we can't take you on because of who you are? That's fucking retarded. Men don't call women it. I imagine this is based on women who talk about how men treat women like a piece of meat, or, oh, he treats her like he's his object. Shut the fuck up. This doesn't happen. And if it does, it's generally a bell-end fella talking to his bell-end mates. And certainly not saying it in front of women. Women don't walk into women's toilets, see a woman all battered and covered in mud and try to put shoes and makeup on her. I mean, these women live in a fucking dream world. If that happened in real life, the women who came in would see this poor woman and would literally be putting their arms around her, calling the cops and making sure she was looked after. I'm pretty sure Jessica Gao said this was her most important scene for her. She thought it was empowering. You know, how women come together in the bathroom in times of need. I mean, what fucking planet are you on, you shallow bint? How is it that as a man, I can look at this scene and think, nope, that never happened. That woman will be protected, not fucking slutted up. Men don't hug each other when they're frightened. I imagine these writers must hang around fucking effeminate men who have they-them pronouns in their Twitter bio, because I've never seen two guys scared clutch each other like fucking Scooby-Doo. Shit, that is missing. Now this one is a bit of a broad stroke really, because it's more for Disney as a whole as opposed to just this show. But, you know, good role models for boys. Yes, that's right. The other sex, you know, the men, not just the women. And as I said, it's a broad stroke. I appreciate the main character of She-Hulk in this, but you can still have good role models for boys. The writers, from their bitter experience, have failed to include any. But before Disney bastardised this franchise, we had Captain America, Tony Stark, Thor, Spider-Man, Falcon, Black Panther. It was quite an extensive list of male characters who, yes, all had flaws, but were all inherently good and were selfless when it came to others. Since the birth of the MCU, that's all kind of disappeared. Anyone left has had a bait and switch on them or have been deconstructed to bring up the female counterpart. It's a big hole in Disney's armour, but one they don't seem to want to plug as they push more and more female characters. The more you exclude men, the more your audiences will drop. And trust me, we won't accept your cast-offs like Captain Derivative and the cucked woke soldier. We want proper, fleshed out, good role models for boys. Male writers. Obviously, as we all know, there is a distinct lack of male writing in this. It's pretty evident. And not just from the lack of comedy shown here, but it's also from the one-dimensional characters. The male characters that we see on the screen. The men who we have been introduced to aren't real men. These are bitter, warped versions of men that I imagine the writers have slept with or been turned down by. I would imagine the latter, really. It really needed a man's voice to say, "Oi, you fucking borderline alcoholic bitter bint. These are not real men. Stop projecting." Honestly, the fucking rampant rabbits these women must have been their last legs from so much use. It's fucking mental. Source material. As I said, these women never read the comics, so how can they possibly write a character they know nothing about? I can only imagine they were given cue cards for this. She's big, she's green, she's athletic, she's athletic, she's athletic, she's very powerful, she's ultra confident, and she breaks the fourth wall. And I think that is pretty much all they were given, because let's be honest, what else have you seen aside from that? Hulk. Hulk is surprisingly quiet in the second episode. Could it be that they used him as a draw for the first episode to get us normies in, and then once we were hooked, fuck him off in a spaceship for the rest of the show? Surely not. But I must admit, Hulk did appear in the second episode for about 20 seconds before they fucked him off into a spaceship. Goodbye! The sad thing is She-Hulk should have been the draw, not Hulk. From what I hear from people who love the comics, was that yes, she was a derivative, but she became so popular that she just stood out on her own in the end and became her own person. But here, it just feels like the writers have written a comedy for themselves, but having to work for Marvel, have had to put the big green girl in.
That's a huge bitch!
And just an observation here, I don't know if it's just me or I don't know if anyone else agrees, but the new job that she got, which showed the new building and the new offices, pretty much to me looked a bit like Pearson Hardman offices in Suits. Corner offices, lots of glass, big meeting room. Steal some ideas much?
Now shut the hell up!
In short, there is a shit ton wrong with this show, and it all stems from complete ignorance, arrogance, narcissism, and a total disrespect for the source material and the fans. Honestly, I know these episodes are only about 20 minutes long now, but fucking hell. Do not put yourself through this shit. There are plenty of reviewers out there who will give you a 10-minute breakdown, saving you 10 minutes, which you can use to, I don't know, create content, play Fortnite, Call of Duty Mobile, something even more entertaining like clear the wax from your ears with a cotton bud or Q-tip if you're American, or wash your car, have a wank. Fucking me, anything. Just fucking fill a kettle to the brim and then just turn it on and wait for it to boil. Anything's better than this. Stay away. If you liked this video, please like, share and subscribe.